6 ways I lead my team across border as a non-native English speaker. You shouldn't be thinking, oh my God, I'm not able to be a leader, I'm the wrong leader, or I should not ask to become a leader. When you're not fully comfortable as a leader in an English environment and you have a team, it can be difficult sometimes to be fully in your role of leader because you are more focused on the fact that you are not enough speaking English or you don't fully understand what is being said. So in those cases, it's extremely important to be able to rely on the team and make sure that they trust you and they believe that you are the right leader for them. And you shouldn't be thinking, oh my God, I'm not able to be a leader, I'm the wrong leader, or I should not ask to become a leader. It's important if you have the understanding and in your native language, if you have the right understanding on the business, the right intention, you have to become that leader. I think we are lacking so many leaders with great intentions, great values. So if you have that, despite the fact that you might be uncomfortable with your accent, with the lack of vocabulary, it's important that you embrace your role as a leader. So in terms of the ways I've done to achieve that, first, I was clear on the vision and the value for the team. So at first, when I started as a head of, I was really forgetting that part. I was so focused on making sure that the team is well up together, the processes in place, that it took me such a long time because they are across borders that it took me a while before I realized, hold on, as a team leader, I need to make sure that the strategy is clear to them. What is our vision, our purpose? And so this part, it has been a huge, it has been extremely important to kind of align everybody around a common purpose. So make sure you are clear on what is your vision for the team or for the company or for the function or even in your role as an expert. What do you want to achieve? And be also clear on what are your values. What is it that the way you want to achieve that ambition? How do you make it so important on how the people behave in order to work together? And once you have that clear, usually you can just put that on a couple of slides on Google Slide, PowerPoint, whatever. Make sure then you repeat the message. Whether it's to the team, I like to do that when we have like a face-to-face meeting once every 2-3 months. I like to remind them what is our strategy, what is our purpose. You can also do that in the weekly meeting when you have weekly meetings with them. Hey, by the way, great achievement that you guys made on this topic, on this project, and let me re-link that to our bigger ambition, our ambition, our strategy. So having that communicated, clear to you, and then regularly communicated is extremely important to have everybody on the same wave. Step 2, you want to check with HR and on Google and via trainings, what are the cultural specifics? What are also the personality specific in your team? And here I'm talking whether it's within your team or other people, depending on your role. It can also be that you work closely with other peers or other profiles. Whoever it is that you work closely with within the company, make sure you understand the culture and their personality. For example, I work with Denmark, and in Denmark, they would go for lunch earlier, 11:30, 12. So me coming from France, where they go rather a bit later at 12:30, I would call for meeting at 12 for half an hour, thinking it's fine. Or the same on Friday afternoon, I would block a slot at 4 or 5 p.m. as part of any day. Let's have a meeting on this topic. But the more I understood, also because my team was comfortable as well to tell me, I understood, those are not great hours because either we left already for lunch or we are already about to get dinner with our family. So, hey, Mary, please try to call us at another time. So as a non-native speaker, it's extremely important to not be consumed only by your own, culture and your own way of speaking, but it's also important to be clear on what is it that the other people expect from you based on their culture. So that way, the reason why I said that, it's because if you go in a meeting at 12 without thinking of the fact that the person had to skip the team lunch in order to have that meeting with you, it's going to create already some tension or frustration right even before you're doing the meeting, which you will feel that the person is not engaged enough, and therefore you're going to start getting uncomfortable as a non-native speaker, and you're going to be, I don't manage. You're going to get stressed. You're not going to be able to speak properly. The conditions are not going to be right. The environment is not going to be positive enough for you to feel comfortable in order to speak properly to the person. And the person same in front of you, whether they are non-native English speaker or a native English speaker, the dialogue will also be different, because they will maybe speak faster because they're in a rush, because they want to catch up with the lunch with everybody, or they will not want to elaborate much on their idea, and they are going to expect you to understand quickly what they mean. So that's why you want to make sure that you really understand what are the criteria from the person in front of you in order to have, whenever you have meetings, it's the right framework to express yourself in. Third point, have regular meetings with your key stakeholders. So whether if it's your team or someone else, make sure you have one-to-ones with them. One-to-ones is a great way when you are a non-native speaker to connect with someone, because you only have one person you need to maintain the dialogue with. There's only one person you need to focus on in terms of argument and counter-argumentation. So it's just much easier to have to talk to one person. So having those one-to-ones is extremely critical to take the time for it, because it just helps to create the relationship with someone. And therefore, when you need to have meeting with 3, 4, 5 people, you will feel much more confident to express yourself, because you know already who's on the other side. You know the person, because in one-to-one, you also tend to have a little bit more freedom to talk about, hey, how was the weekend? How are you doing? Oh, have you heard about that news? And this is awesome. This is frustrating, So having this one-to-one is very valuable in order not to be stressed as much when you need to speak when you have a larger audience. Another way that I use a lot in order to feel comfortable leading people across borders is asking for feedback. And I know that can be a bit scary at times, but it's so important, because ultimately your team, whatever you define as being your team and your role as a leader, are the people who are closest to you. They want you to succeed as a leader because you're here to provide them with a safe environment. So it's very important to ask them for their feedback. So if you had a meeting with them and you were speaking English at that meeting, ask them, was that clear? I remember when I was trying to explain, I explained a point, I can't recall which one it was, but I remember talking about it to several people individually and at a team meeting. And then I could see that everybody had understood it differently. And obviously, I had not managed to convey my idea properly, because then when I would catch up with some team members, they would give me a different, either they would not remember what I said, which was to me an important point that I was trying to highlight in a team meeting, or they had understood it in a different way. So then I took that as my own feedback, and I put it again in a team meeting with a slide, making clear on the bullet points, guys, this is what's happening, and that's what I expect from you in the future. Is it everything clear? Is everything clear? Because I tried to say that to a couple of you in the past month and weeks, but it seems I didn't manage to convey the message properly. What's your thoughts? And so making sure that on your own, you kind of see where is it that there is a gap of a misunderstanding, or simply ask the person, ask them. So here we had that meeting, the two of us, one-to-one. What did you think? My point was that we need to focus on this, this, and that. Was it clear to you? Or if you are with a supplier or an employee, whoever it is that you need to lead in your role, make sure you rephrase and you ask, is it clear? Have we confirmed? Do we confirm this? You can also use slides because many people think differently. So some people are more visual, some people prefer to listen, some people it's going to be about the relationship. So try to adjust to each profile that you have in the team. And that's my next way. This part, I mentioned it before, but it's so important, the aspect of stakeholder management, the personalities of the person, of your team members. What is it how do they think? What do they want from you? What do they want for themselves? This is very important. Usually what you could do is you can ask them to do personality tests. It can be a nice game to do. There are some free tests online. It's not to judge them, it's just to understand who thinks more strategic, who thinks more operational, who needs the relationship aspect, who is more, self-driven. Everything at the end, it's positive. It just helps you to better understand what are the profile and the expectation of each person. The more you are in tune with those expectations, the more comfortable you will feel to speak with that person, to connect with them. That's why it's so important. And all those points I mentioned before, ultimately it's in order to feel comfortable with the person in front of you. And that leads me to the last point. The goal as a leader is for you to let go of your people in the team, in the sense of you want them to have visibility, you want them to grow, you want them to have the spotlight. The more you do that, the more it will help you that the pressure is not only on you as the team leader or as the executive, because too many times I see people expecting everything from the team leader. No, you have expert in a team for a reason. So if you make sure that your people in the team are comfortable in their role, in terms, and they are fine, they feel comfortable in English, don't get scared or don't feel threatened by them having the spotlight, because they're very good on a project and it's capturing the attention. No, everybody has their different strengths, their different skills. So the more you have ambassadors in your team, they will carry your strategy, they will carry your values that you have put in place. So it will help to multiply your influence across the organization. So this one is extremely important because it helps reduce a bit the tension on your shoulders. You can rely more on the others to carry the message in any language. So most of them will probably share it in English. So it will help you to convey that message without being the bottleneck to communicate on everything. I hope this video is useful for you. Please provide feedback in the comments and I look forward to following up the discussion with you all.